Yo, what's good? Fam, picture this a sweaty summer night in Atlanta, where the air's thick with humidity and the city's pulse beats like a trap song. I'm Joan Doe, your 58-year-old storyteller from New York, now sipping sweet tea in a Brooklyn loft, ready to drop a tale that'll hit you right in the chest. This one's got it all: guts, heart, and a dance that turned a ritzy Buckhead joint upside down. We're talking about Malik Jackson, a black dude from Vine City who don't take shit from nobody, and Eleanor Caldwell, a badass billionaire lady who runs this town. Grab your drink, kick back, and let's dive into a story that's raw, real, and ready to make you cuss, cry, or cheer. You feeling it? Let's roll. The Velvet Room in Buckhead was a damn cathedral for the rich. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen fireworks, casting light on polished marble floors that screamed old money. The air smelled of truffle oil, lavender, and the kind of cologne that cost more than a car. Every clink of wine glasses was a middle finger to anyone who didn't belong, and Malik Jackson belonged least of all. At 32, he was a 6'2" wall of muscle, black as midnight, with a fade sharp enough to cut glass and a grin that said, "Try me." His cheap black polo, standard issue for waitstaff, clung to his broad shoulders as he weaved through tables, balancing a tray of overpriced appetizers. His sneakers beat up Nikes he'd had since his ballin' days in Vine City squeaked against the floor, and he didn't give a fuck. Malik was a survivor, raised in the cracked sidewalks and graffiti-tagged walls of Vine City, where dreams either died quick or fought to breathe. He worked 3 jobs serving at this snob fest, coaching kids basketball at a community center, and helping his sister Talia with her art hustle. Every spare dollar went to Beat Haven, his dream program to get kids with disabilities moving through music and sports. He'd been a street dancer back in the day, spinning and popping in parking lots till the cops chased him off. That fire still burned in him, even if this place tried to snuff it out. Tonight, the room buzzed with Atlanta's elite suits with Rolexes, women in dresses that cost more than his rent. The pianist in the corner, a wiry old dude with a fedora, was killing it with Sweet Georgia Brown, the jazz notes slinking through the air like a dare. Malik caught the beat, his fingers twitching as he poured Bordeaux for some hedge fund asshole sneering at his date. "Hurry up, man," the guy snapped, not even looking at him. Malik's jaw tightened, but he flashed a smile, thinking, "Keep your money, bro. You ain't got soul." At a table draped in white linen sat Eleanor Caldwell, 40, sharp as a blade and twice as dangerous. Her blonde hair was cut into a sleek bob, her green eyes cold as the emeralds on her neck. Her navy dress hugged curves that made heads turn. But her vibe said, "Look, don't touch." She was Atlanta's queen, running Caldwell Ventures, a company with its hands in everything tech, real estate, you name it. Next to her was Noah, her 10-year-old son, a skinny kid with a mop of brown curls and legs strapped in metal braces. His eyes lit up when the piano hit a high note, fingers tapping the table like he was itching to move. Eleanor's hand landed on his. A quiet, "Stop it," her lips barely moving. Malik caught it from the corner of his eye, thinking, "Damn, lady. Let the kid live." He'd seen Eleanor before on billboards, in Forbes, at galas he served at. She was a fortress, Noah her guarded treasure. A woman in a sequined gown at the next table muttered, "Who brings a crippled kid to a place like this?" Malik's grip tightened on the wine bottle. He wanted to dump it on her head, but rent was due, and he wasn't about to lose this gig. Not yet. In the kitchen, Trey, his best friend and the head chef, was tossing shrimp in a sizzling pan, his dreads tucked under a hairnet. "Yo, Malik, you serving the queen of cash tonight," he called, grinning. "Snag her purse for me." "Fam, shut your dumb ass up," Malik shot back, stacking plates on his tray. "I'm working, not stealing." Trey laughed, flipping a shrimp in the air. "Bet she tips in diamonds. Get in there, bruh." Malik rolled his eyes, pushing through the swinging doors. The velvet room was a pressure cooker, every glance from the rich folks sizing him up like he was just the help. He was, but that didn't mean he had to like it. He dropped off crab cakes for a table of tech bros, dodged a drunk CEO's grabby hand, and headed toward Eleanor's table. Noah was staring at the pianist, his braces glinting under the chandelier light. Eleanor's face was stone, but her knuckles were white around her fork. First time out since the accident, Malik thought. Malik. He'd read the gossip car crash. Ex-husband dead. Kid half paralyzed. Rough shit. But billionaires didn't get his tears. Then it happened. Noah shoved his chair back, the leg scraping loud enough to slice through the piano's melody. A water glass tipped, splashing across the linen. He stood, wobbly as hell, his braces clanking like a busted engine. "Yo, man, dance with me," he shouted, voice cracking but fierce, pointing straight at Malik. The room froze. Forks stopped midair. A woman gasped, clutching her pearls like this was a damn robbery. The pianist fumbled a note, the song stuttering. "What the fuck's this bullshit?" growled Mr. Pierce, the manager, storming from the bar. His bald head gleamed, his tie choking his red neck. "Caldwell, get your kid in line." Eleanor's chair scraped as she half stood, her face a mix of fury and embarrassment. "Noah, sit your ass down," she hissed, low but sharp enough to cut glass. Noah's lip trembled, but he didn't move, his hand still out to Malik, eyes blazing with defiance and a kid's desperate hope. Malik felt every stare in the room, like knives on his skin. The hedge fund bro smirked. Sequined lady whispered, "He's done for." Pierce was 2 steps away, ready to drag him out. His shift was technically over, he could walk, but leaving meant letting Noah down. Those eyes, bright and ballsy, hit him like a punch. He thought of Beat Haven, of every time he'd been told to stay in his lane. Fuck that. Screw your rules. "Pierce," Malik said, loud enough for the whole damn room to hear. He yanked off his polo, tossed it on the bar, and strode to Noah. "Hell yeah. Kid, let's burn this shit down." He took Noah's hand small, sweaty, shaking, and gave it a squeeze. "You lead. I got you." The pianist, catching the vibe, restarted Sweet Georgia Brown, the notes bolder, jazzier. Malik pulled out his phone, queued up a hip-hop remix from Trey's playlist, and cranked the volume. The beat dropped, heavy bass shaking the chandeliers. Noah took a shaky step, his braces screeching. Malik matched him, slow and steady, one arm loose to keep the kid balanced. 1 step, 2, 3. Noah grinned, fear melting into something like joy. Malik spun him gentle, but with a street flair, like they were freestyling in a Vine City lot. The kid laughed, a sound brighter than any chandelier in this overpriced hellhole. "She's got balls, but he's toast." Sequined lady hissed. A tech bro muttered, Caldwell's gonna sue his ass into the dirt. Malik leaned down, whispering, "You're a fucking rock star. Noah, own it." Noah giggled, his next step surer. They made a small circle, 5 steps total, before Malik felt Noah's arm shake. He guided him back to the chair, kneeling so they were eye level. "You killed it, lil man." Noah beamed, breathless. "Thanks." Malik Pierce loomed over, snarling. "Jackson, you're fired. Grab your shit and enough." Eleanor's voice cut through like a gunshot. She was on her feet, dress shimmering, eyes locked on Malik. The room held its breath. Eleanor Caldwell didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. One word from her could tank careers, and everyone knew it. Pierce shut up, stepping back like a whipped dog. Malik stood, meeting her gaze. Her eyes were storm clouds, unreadable. But there was something else. Something not just pissed. "What's your name?" she asked, her tone flat but deliberate. "Malik Jackson," he said, chin up, not flinching. Eleanor nodded, like she was memorizing it. She pulled a card from her purse, gold embossed, heavy as a promise, and held it out. "My office, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late." Her fingers brushed his for a second too long when he took it. Whispers erupted. "She's gonna crush him," someone said, "or hire him as a nanny." Another laughed. Noah tugged Eleanor's sleeve. "Mom, why'd you do that?" Eleanor didn't answer, her jaw tight as she sat. Malik gave Noah a wink, then turned, striding out with his head high. Pierce sputtered, but Malik was gone, the kitchen door swinging shut. Trey was waiting. Jaw dropped. "Holy shit. Bruh. You just flipped off all of Buckhead. You're either fucked or about to own this city." "Shut up," Malik said. But a grin broke through. His heart was racing, adrenaline buzzing like he'd just dunked on LeBron. He grabbed his backpack, ignoring the cook's stares, and stepped into the sticky Atlanta night. Car horns blared, sirens wailed in the distance, the city's pulse matching his own. He hopped the MARTA to Vine City, his reflection staring back in the train's smudged window. His hands shook as he pulled out Eleanor's card, its weight heavier than it should be. His apartment was a cramped box in a run-down Vine City complex. Walls alive with Talia's graffiti murals, swirls of red, gold, and blue that made it feel like home. A wobbly table held a stack of coaching playbooks and a wilted fern he kept forgetting to water. He dropped his bag, kicked off his Nikes, and flopped onto the couch. Eleanor's card still in his hand. Talia, 25, poked her head out from her room, braids swinging, paint smudged on her cheek. "Yo, you look like you just robbed a bank and got away. What's good?" Malik held up the card. "Might have just pissed off Atlanta's richest chick, or got a shot at something big." Talia's eyes went wide. "Wait, what spill?" "Fam." He told her everything. Noah's bold move, his own reckless one, the whole damn room freezing. Talia cackled, collapsing next to him. "You told Pierce to shove it. Bruh, you're my fucking hero. So, what's the deal with Miss Moneybags?" Malik pulled out his phone, scrolling to Beat Haven's bare-bones website photos of kids with crutches shooting hoops, dancing to trap beats. He tapped a note in his app, Caldwell Ventures. Rejected 3x. This lady's been blocking our funding for years. Noah's my way in. I ain't letting this slip." Talia whistled. "You're playing chess with a billionaire ballsy as fuck." "Damn right," Malik said, but his gut twisted. He'd seen something in Eleanor's eyes, not just anger, but a crack in her icy front. Noah's grin, though that was worth every risk. He traced the Beat Haven logo on his phone. Move your way, own your day. This was his shot, and he wasn't backing down. Across town, in a Buckhead penthouse that looked like a damn museum. Eleanor sat in the dark, a glass of bourbon untouched on the table. Noah was asleep, his braces leaning against his bed. She stared at a photo of her ex-husband, his smile frozen in time. Malik's words echoed, "You're a fucking rock star." Noah. She'd wanted to fire his ass on the spot. But that smile on her son's face, the first real one since the crash, stopped her cold. What the hell was she doing? Inviting him to her office? She didn't know, but for the first time in years, she felt something shift. Yo, fam, can you feel that heat? A kid's courage and a dance that shook Atlanta's elite. That's the kind of fire that lights up the night. I'm Joan Doe, still reeling from Malik's ballsy move. Got a moment where you broke the rules and made magic? Drop it in the comments. And hit that subscribe button to keep these wild-ass stories coming. Let's keep the vibe lit. The Atlanta morning hit like a slap. The sun turning Buckhead skyscrapers into mirrors that threw light in every damn direction. Malik Jackson stepped off the MARTA bus at Peachtree Street, feeling like a fish out of water in this glossy-ass part of town. Caldwell Ventures' headquarters loomed ahead, a beast of glass and steel that screamed, "You don't belong here." At 32, Malik was used to that vibe, but it still stung. His borrowed blazer, a hand-me-down from Trey's cousin, was a size too small, digging into his shoulders. His old Nikes were swapped for scuffed dress shoes that pinched his toes, but he wasn't here to look pretty. He was here to make Eleanor Caldwell listen. The lobby was some next-level shit, marble floors so shiny he could see his reflection. Abstract sculptures that probably cost more than his whole block in Vine City. A receptionist with a fake-ass smile and nails like talons eyed him like he was delivering pizza. "Name?" she asked, her voice dripping with that "you're wasting my time" tone, fingers hovering over a tablet. "Malik Jackson," he said, standing tall, his deep voice steady. "Here for Eleanor Caldwell." Her eyebrow twitched, but she tapped the tablet. "Elevator to the 30th floor. Ms. Camille will meet you." Her tone said, "Good luck. You're fucked." Malik crossed the lobby, ignoring the stares from suited-up execs clutching overpriced coffee. Their whispers trailed him. "Who's that?" "Some waiter." "I heard." The elevator was a mirrored cage, his reflection staring back tired eyes, tight jaw, but a spark of defiance that hadn't quit since last night. Trey's words echoed in his head. "You flipped off all of Buckhead. Bruh, you're a legend or a dead man." Malik smirked. Maybe both. On the 30th floor, Camille, Eleanor's assistant, was waiting. She was a black woman in her late 30s, sharp as hell, with a tight bun and a pantsuit that screamed, "I run this show." Her eyes raked over Malik, lingering on the frayed cuffs of his blazer. "You're the dude who turned the Velvet Room into a damn dance battle," she said, not hiding her amusement. "Shit, you got guts. Or a death wish." Malik grinned, unfazed. Guts are all I got, lady. Where's Caldwell? Camille's lips twitched, like she was debating whether to laugh or call security. This way. Hot shot. She led him down a hallway lined with glass offices, where young execs in tailored suits typed like their lives depended on it, or barked into headsets. Heads turned as Malik passed, whispers following like smoke. Heard he got fired for dancing with her kid. Caldwell's gonna eat him alive. Eleanor's office was the size of a damn basketball court, with floor-to-ceiling windows that made Atlanta look like a toy city below. The air smelled of leather and her sharp perfume, a mix that hit Malik like a warning shot. She stood behind a sleek desk, her back to the door, staring out at the skyline. Her navy dress hugged her like it was custom-made, which it probably was her blonde bob catching the light. Malik stood in the doorway, hands clasped to keep them from shaking. This was the woman who'd rejected Beat Haven's funding proposals 3 times without a second thought. The woman whose son had smiled like the sun last night. The woman he was about to take on. Miss Caldwell, Camille said, then shut the door, leaving them alone. Eleanor turned, her green eyes locking onto Malik like a laser. Her face was a mask of control, but there was something else, curiosity. Maybe. Or something hotter. Mr. Jackson, she said, her voice smooth but edged, like velvet wrapped around a knife. Sit. Nah. I'm good standing, Malik said, his tone even but firm. What's this about? Caldwell. Her jaw tightened, but she gestured to a leather chair anyway. Suit yourself. She sat, leaning back, fingers steepled like she was about to close a billion-dollar deal. The silence stretched. A power move to make him squirm. Malik didn't bite. He crossed his arms, meeting her gaze, letting the quiet turn into a dare. Finally, she spoke. Last night was unconventional. Noah's never done anything like that. I need to know who you are, who I am. Malik's laugh was sharp, echoing off the glass walls. I'm the dude who didn't let your kid crash and burn in front of a room full of rich assholes. That's who I am. Eleanor's eyes narrowed, but a flicker of amusement crossed her face. You've got a mouth on you, Jackson. Damn right, he shot back, stepping closer to the desk. And you've got a problem. Your son's got more heart than you give him credit for, but you're too busy playing Queen of Atlanta to see it. The air crackled. Eleanor leaned forward, her voice low. Careful. Jackson, I don't take kindly to being talked to like that. And I don't take kindly to being summoned like a damn dog, Malik said, his voice steady but hot. You dragged me here. Say what you want, or I'm out. She studied him, like she was recalculating her whole damn strategy. Fine. I want you to work for me, as a coach for Noah. Help him with his mobility, his confidence. Name your price. Malik blinked, caught off guard. Then he laughed, a bitter sound that bounced off the walls. You think you can buy me like a fucking smoothie at Lenox Mall? I'm not your project. Caldwell. You see a black dude from Vine City and think you can throw money at me? Nah. I'm here for Beat Haven. He pulled a crumpled flyer from his pocket, Beat Haven's logo. A kid in a wheelchair dunking a basketball and slapped it on her desk. You've rejected our funding 3 times. Why the fuck do you keep shutting us down? Eleanor's brow furrowed, like she was searching a mental Rolodex. Beat Haven, she said slowly, picking up the flyer. The program for disabled kids. I remember. It wasn't profitable. Profitable? Malik's voice rose, his hands balling into fists. It ain't about money, you arrogant-ass robot. It's about kids like Noah feeling alive, something you wouldn't get up in your glass tower. He danced last night. Caldwell. You see that fire in him? That's what I'm fighting for. Eleanor stood, her height not as imposing as his, but her presence filling the room. You're out of line. Jackson, she said, her tone icy. I'm offering you a way out of your situation. 5 times whatever you're making now. Take it, or you're throwing away a lifeline. Malik stepped right up to the desk, so close he could see the faint freckles on her nose. I'm not your charity case. You want to help Noah bring him to Beat Haven, see what we do, or keep your money and your bullshit. He pulled another flyer from his pocket, this one with an address, Vine City, Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. He tossed it on the desk. Don't waste my time. Eleanor stared at the flyer, then at him, her expression unreadable. You're stubborn as hell. Jackson. Damn right, Malik said, a smirk tugging at his lips. And you're lucky I'm here. Rich lady. He turned, striding out before she could respond. His heart pounded, but his steps were steady. He'd just told a billionaire to shove it, and it felt like hitting a game-winning shot. Camille was outside, eavesdropping if her wide eyes were any clue. You're insane, she whispered. Nobody talks to her like that. Malik winked. Somebody's gotta. He hit the elevator button, the door sliding shut on Camille's stunned face. Back in Vine City. Malik's apartment was a chaotic sanctuary. Talia's murals covered the walls, bright swirls clashing with peeling paint. A stack of basketball playbooks teetered on the coffee table next to a pizza box from last week. He kicked off his dress shoes, wincing as his toes thanked him, and collapsed onto the couch. Talia burst out, paint on her cheek. Yo, you look like you just fought a damn dragon. How'd it go with Miss Moneybags? Malik held up the Beat Haven flyer, now creased. Told her to kiss my ass and bring Noah to the program. Think I'm fired from life now? Talia cackled, flopping next to him. You told a billionaire to kiss it, bruh. You're a fucking legend, so... What's the play? Malik opened his phone, pulling up Beat Haven's funding proposals. Each one stamped, rejected by Caldwell Ventures. She's the key to keeping this alive. Noah's my way in. If I can get her to see what we do, maybe she'll fund us. Talia whistled. You're playing chess with a damn queen. Respect, or I'm about to crash and burn, Malik said, but his eyes gleamed. Noah's smile last night had lit up the velvet room like a damn supernova. That kid was worth every risk, and Eleanor shit. She was a puzzle he wasn't done solving. There was a crack in her armor, and he'd be damned if he didn't pry it open. That night, Malik couldn't sleep. He sat on his couch, the city's hum seeping through the cracked window sirens, bass from a passing car, kids laughing somewhere down the block. He pulled a box from under the coffee table, one he hadn't touched in years. Inside were photos, letters, and a yellowed newspaper clipping. Couple killed in construction collapse. Faulty materials blamed. His parents, gone when he was 17, crushed under steel tied to some shady-ass company. He'd never dug deep or too much pain, but something Noah said last night. You ever lose someone? Malik had cracked him open. He took the Marta to Vine City's public library, a fluorescent-lit maze of dusty shelves and ancient computers. Mrs. Pearl, The librarian, was there, her glasses slipping down her nose. Malik Jackson. "You up to no good again," she teased, her voice warm but sharp. "Just chasing ghosts." "Ms. Pearl," he said, flashing a grin. He sweet-talked her into accessing old city records, his fingers flying over the keyboard. He cross-referenced his parents' accident with construction permits, his heart pounding. Then he founded a 2008 permit for the building that collapsed, funded by a subsidiary of Caldwell Ventures. The name hit like a brick Eleanor's company, tied to the steel that killed his folks. His hands shook as he printed the document, the paper warm and heavy in his hands. He didn't go home. Instead, he took the MARTA to Piedmont Park, Atlanta's green heart, where dusk painted the sky in purples and golds. He texted Eleanor, "Meet me at the lake, now." His pulse hammered, anger and grief twisting like a storm. He didn't know what he'd say, but he couldn't wait. Eleanor arrived in 20 minutes, her SUV out of place among joggers and dog walkers. She stepped out, her casual sweater and jeans doing nothing to hide her power. "Jackson," she said, her voice wary. "What's this about Malik didn't waste time?" He shoved the document at her, his voice breaking. "You son of a bitch! Your money killed my family." He pointed to the highlighted lines, his finger trembling. "Caldwell Ventures funded the project that collapsed on my parents. You knew, didn't you?" Eleanor's face went pale, her eyes scanning the paper. "Malik, I swear, I didn't—" She stopped, her jaw tightening. "I wasn't running the company then. My father was. I had no idea." "Bullshit," Malik shouted, his voice echoing across the lake. A couple nearby turned to stare, but he didn't care. "Your empire's built on my pain. Caldwell. My parents are gone because of your greedy-ass family." Eleanor stepped closer, her hands raised like she was calming a wild animal. "I'd never hurt you. Malik, I swear on Noah's life. I didn't know. Let me look into this. I'll find out what happened." Malik laughed, bitter and raw. "Find out? You think that fixes it? You think your money can erase 15 years of me waking up without them?" He threw the document at her feet, his eyes burning. "Stay the fuck away from me." He turned, storming off, his breath ragged. Eleanor called after him, but he didn't look back. The city blurred through his anger, every light a reminder of the life he'd lost. The Atlanta heat was relentless, the kind that made your shirt stick to your back and your patience run thin. Vine City's streets buzzed with life kids shooting hoops in a cracked court, old heads playing dominoes on a stoop, the faint thump of trap music from a passing car. Malik Jackson was back in his element. But his head was a mess. It had been 2 days since he'd thrown that damning document at Eleanor Caldwell's feet in Piedmont Park, his parents' death tied to her family's empire. He hadn't slept right since, the anger and grief churning like a storm in his chest. But Noah's smile from that night at the Velvet Room that kept him moving. Malik stood outside the Beat Haven warehouse, a beat-up building on a corner lot, its brick walls tagged with Trey's graffiti swirls of red, gold, and black, screaming, "We here!" Inside, it was a different world. Handmade posters with slogans like "Find Your Flow" and "Every Step Counts" plastered the walls, their colors a middle finger to the grayness outside. The air smelled of old wood, sweat, and the faint tang of spray paint. A thumping hip-hop track Something by Outcast rattled the windows, and a dozen kids, some in wheelchairs, some with crutches, others with braces like Noah's, moved to the beat. Malik clapped to the rhythm, his voice cutting through the music. "Come on, y'all. Own it. This ain't no rehearsal. This is your stage." At 32. Malik was the heart of this place. His Beat Haven t-shirt stretched across his broad chest, his fade fresh from the barber shop. His sister Talia was there, snapping pics for the program's Instagram, her braids swinging as she hyped the kids up. Dr. Vivian Brooks, a 60-year-old neuroscientist with a wild orange scarf and a worse sense of humor, scribbled notes on a clipboard nearby. "Why'd the neuron join the dance?" she called, grinning, "to shake its damn synapses." The kids laughed. But Sophie, a 12-year-old spitfire in a wheelchair with glittery spokes, rolled her eyes. "Doc, your jokes are straight-up trash," she shouted, spinning in a tight circle to the beat. The room erupted in cheers, the energy so thick you could taste it. Malik was mid-clap when the door creaked open, and there they were, Eleanor Caldwell and Noah. Eleanor looked like she'd wandered into a war zone, her Atlanta Hawks t-shirt screaming, "I'm trying to blend in, but failing hard." Her blonde bob was tucked under a baseball cap, her green eyes scanning the chaos like she was calculating an escape plan. Noah clung to her arm, his braces glinting under the fluorescent lights, his curls bouncing as he took in the room with wide, nervous eyes. Sophie spotted them first. "Yo, new kid," she called, rolling over. She squinted at Eleanor. "Lady, you look like you coach soccer moms. What's your deal?" Malik bit back a laugh as Eleanor's jaw twitched. "I'm Noah's mom," she said, her voice stiff, like she was addressing a boardroom. Sophie grinned, undeterred. "Cool. Noah, you dancing or what? We don't do boring here." Noah's grip on Eleanor's arm tightened, but his eyes locked on Sophie's wheelchair, then the other kids moving freely. I want to try," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Malik strode over, his smile warm but firm. "Hey, Noah, you made it. Ready to show these folks how it's done?" He nodded at Eleanor, his tone cooler. "Caldwell, glad you didn't punk out." Eleanor's eyes narrowed, but a ghost of a smirk tugged at her lips. "You're welcome. Jackson, don't make me regret this." "Oh, I won't," Malik said, winking at Noah. "Come on, lil man. Let's find your rhythm." He led Noah to the group, pairing him with Sophie, who immediately started bossing him around. "Follow my lead. New kid. You got this." Eleanor hovered by the wall, arms crossed, looking like she'd rather be closing a deal than standing in a sweaty warehouse. Malik caught her eye, jerking his head toward a folding chair. "Sit your ass down. Caldwell, you're making the kids nervous." Eleanor muttered something under her breath, but sat, her gaze flicking between Noah and the room. Vivian joined her, her scarf a riot of orange and purple. "First time's always rough for parents," she said, her voice kind but sharp. "You here for Noah or to keep tabs on Malik?" Eleanor's brow furrowed. "Noah," she said. "Too quick." Vivian chuckled, like she knew better. The music shifted to a slower beat, a remix of So Fresh, So Clean that gave the kids room to experiment. Noah, guided by Sophie, took a tentative step, his braces clanking like a busted machine. Malik watched, his heart swelling. This was why he'd built Beat Haven, not for grants or glory, but for moments like this, when a kid like Noah could feel like a king. He glanced at Eleanor, expecting her usual icy stare, but her eyes were fixed on Noah, soft in a way that made his chest tighten. Damn. Caldwell, you're human after all. Then it happened, the turning point that flipped everything. Noah, in the center of the room, fumbled with his braces, his small hands working the straps. Sophie whispered something, and he nodded, sweat beading on his forehead. The left brace came off, clattering to the floor. The kids went silent, the music fading as Vivian lowered the volume. Noah's legs wobbled, his tiny frame trembling. But his eyes burned with a fire no doctor could have predicted. Noah. Eleanor started, standing, her voice sharp with panic. Malik grabbed her arm, his grip firm. Let him be a damn king, he whispered, his voice fierce. Eleanor froze, her breath catching. Noah took a deep breath, leaning on Sophie's wheelchair for balance. He pushed off. Taking one shaky step, the room held its breath. He wobbled, his right brace screeching, but he didn't fall. Another step, his knee buckled, and he hit the floor. A gasp rippling through the crowd. Eleanor tensed, but Malik's hand tightened on her arm. Wait. Noah pushed himself up, his face set with a stubborn grit that mirrored Malik's. He took another step, steadier, then another. 4 steps total, each one a small miracle. Sophie clapped, her voice piercing the silence. Hell yeah. Noah, you're a badass. The room exploded in cheers, kids stomping and whooping. Talia's camera flashed, capturing Noah's grin wide. Fearless. The kind of smile that could light up Vine City. Malik let go of Eleanor's arm, his own eyes stinging. Told you, he said, his voice thick. He's got it. Eleanor didn't speak. Her eyes were red, her jaw tight, like she was fighting something deep. Holy shit, she whispered, almost to herself. My boy's a fighter. Vivian scribbled furiously on her clipboard, muttering about neural pathways, but her smile said it all. Talia rushed over, high-fiving Malik. Bruh, you're a damn genius. This is going viral. Malik laughed, but his gaze flicked to Eleanor. She was still staring at Noah, who was now laughing with Sophie, oblivious to the weight of the moment. For a second, Malik saw past the billionaire, past the designer dresses and power, to a mom who'd forgotten how to hope. It hit him harder than he expected. The session wound down, kids dispersing for water and fist bumps. Malik started stacking chairs, the adrenaline fading into a quiet buzz. Eleanor approached, her steps hesitant, like she was crossing a minefield. Jackson, she said, her voice low. That was something. Something. Malik raised an eyebrow, tossing a chair onto the stack. Your kid just rewrote the damn rule book. Caldwell. Give him some credit. Eleanor's lips twitched, not quite a smile. You're a pain in the ass. You know that. Damn right, Malik said, grinning. Keeps you on your toes. The room was nearly empty now, moonlight spilling through the high windows, casting shadows on the scuffed floor. The stereo kicked on by accident, a soft jazz tune, Georgia on My Mind, filling the air. Malik paused, the melody tugging at him. Bet you can't keep up with my moves. Caldwell, he teased, half joking. Eleanor's eyes locked on his, a spark flaring. Try me, she said, stepping closer. Malik laughed, but his pulse quickened. He extended a hand, and she took it, her grip warm and steady. They swayed, not really dancing, just moving to the rhythm. Her hand slid to his shoulder, his to her waist. And for a moment, the world was just them, no class divides, no ghosts, no bullshit. Their faces were inches apart, her breath brushing his cheek. Malik's heart pounded, a mix of warning and thrill. This is crazy, Eleanor murmured, her voice barely audible. I'm not built for your world. Malik, screw my world, he said, his voice rough. I want yours. They leaned in, lips almost touching, but a shout broke the spell. Sophie, calling for Noah to grab his water bottle. Malik pulled back, his face hot. We're nuts, he said, stepping away. I gotta clean up. Eleanor nodded, her expression unreadable, but her eyes didn't leave him. Yeah, she said. Me too. As Malik stacked the last chair, Talia sidled up, smirking. Damn, bruh. You almost kissed a billionaire. You holding out on me? Shut up, Malik said, shoving her playfully. But his mind was spinning. Noah's steps, Eleanor's touch, the weight of that damn document. It was too much. He glanced at his backpack, where the Beat Haven flyer peeked out. This was his chance. But it was getting complicated. Eleanor wasn't just a mark anymore. She was something else. And that scared the hell out of him. Across town, Eleanor drove Noah home, the city lights blurring past. Noah was still buzzing, reenacting his steps in the back seat. Malik's so cool. Mom, did you see me? I did it. I saw, Eleanor said, her voice soft. You were incredible, baby. Noah grinned, then yawned. You like Malik, don't you? Eleanor's hands tightened on the wheel. He's something, she said, dodging the question. But as Noah drifted off, her mind replayed that almost kiss. Malik's fire, Noah's steps. She'd come to Beat Haven for her son, but now she wasn't sure what she was chasing. All she knew was she'd be back on Thursday, and not just for Noah. The Atlanta night was a beast, the kind that swallowed you whole if you weren't ready. Vine City's streets were slick with rain, the streetlights flickering like they were on their last damn legs. Malik Jackson stood outside the Beat Haven warehouse, his hoodie soaked, his breath puffing in the chilly air. He'd stayed late to lock up after a session, but his mind was a war zone. Noah's 4 steps 2 days ago had lit a fire in him, but the weight of that 2008 document-proof Caldwell Ventures was tied to his parents' death, sat heavy in his gut. And Eleanor Caldwell. She was a fucking puzzle, her almost kiss in the moonlight haunting him like a song stuck in his head. He fumbled with the keys, rain stinging his eyes, when his phone buzzed with a notification that turned his world upside down. A headline from some sleazy gossip site screamed, Vine City hustler seduces billionaire for cash. The article was pure trash, painting Malik as a gold-digging thug using Noah to get to Eleanor's fortune. Photos from Beat Haven. His hand on Noah's shoulder. His grin at Eleanor were twisted into something ugly. Comments tore him apart. Typical lowlife. He's trash. Caldwell deserves better. Malik's stomach churned, his grip tightening on the phone. "What the fuck is this bullshit?" he muttered, his voice shaking. He had a bad feeling about who was behind it, Nathan. Eleanor's slimy-ass brother, who'd been sniffing around her business like a vulture. He called the Velvet Room, hoping to clear his head at work. But Pierce, the manager, was brutal. "You're suspended. Jackson." He barked over the phone. "This shit's bad for business. Don't show your face till it's sorted." Malik hung up, his hands trembling. A text from Trey popped up. "Fuck those pricks. You're untouchable. Call me." He didn't. He couldn't. The world was closing in, and all he could see was his parents' faces. That obituary. Eleanor's shocked expression in Piedmont Park. He shoved his phone in his pocket, but a shadow moved in the alley. "Jackson." A rough voice growled, and Malik froze. A tall dude in a hoodie stepped into the light, his face half hidden by rain. "Stay away from Caldwell, or you're fucked." Malik's heart slammed against his ribs, but he squared his shoulders, gripping his keys like a shank. "Who the hell are you? Get your ass out of here." The guy smirked, stepping closer. "You're out of your league. Bitch, back off, or you won't walk away next time." He lunged, grabbing Malik's arm. Malik swung the keys, aiming for his face, but the dude dodged, twisting Malik's wrist hard. Pain shot up his arm, and for a second, fear clawed his throat. "Let go! You punk-ass motherfucker," Malik shouted, kicking at the guy's shin. The dude stumbled, but his grip tightened. Then headlights cut through the rain, and a car screeched to a stop. Eleanor Caldwell leapt out, her face a mask of fury, her blonde hair plastered to her cheeks. "Touch him again, and you're dead," she roared, charging forward. She swung her purse, some designer shit that probably cost $1,000 like a damn bat, catching the guy in the shoulder. He cursed, shoving Malik into the wall, and bolted into the alley, vanishing in the storm. Eleanor turned to Malik, her chest heaving. "You okay?" Malik yanked his wrist free, pain throbbing. "What the fuck are you doing here?" "Caldwell." "Looking for you," she said, her eyes searching his face. "Noah saw that article. I had a bad feeling." She stepped closer, her sweater clinging to her curves in the rain. "Come with me. You're not safe here." Malik wanted to tell her to shove it, to scream that her family's drama was ruining his life, but the alley's shadows loomed, and his wrist was screaming. "Fine," he muttered, climbing into her SUV. The interior smelled of leather and her perfume, a sharp contrast to the chaos outside. Eleanor drove in silence, the wipers slapping rhythmically, until they reached her Buckhead penthouse, a fortress of glass and steel high above the city. Inside, the place was cold as hell, all sharp lines and minimalist decor, like Eleanor's life distilled into furniture. Rain pounded the floor-to-ceiling windows, Atlanta's skyline a blur of lights. She grabbed a towel from a closet, tossing it to Malik. "You're soaked. Dry off." Malik caught it, his hands still shaking. "I don't need your damn pity. Caldwell, "It's not pity," she said, her voice low, almost raw. "It's worry. Deal with it." He glared, but wrapped the towel around his shoulders, his hoodie dripping onto the hardwood. Eleanor handed him a gray button-up shirt, hers, but big enough for him, smelling faintly of her. "Change. You'll catch a damn cold." Malik hesitated, then ducked into the bathroom. The mirror showed a stranger, wet dreads plastered to his scalp, eyes red from rain or rage or both. He peeled off his hoodie, pulling on her shirt, the fabric soft against his skin. It felt too intimate, like stepping into her world. And he hated how much he didn't hate it. Back in the living room, Eleanor was pacing, her phone buzzing but ignored. She stopped when she saw him, her gaze lingering on the shirt, then snapping to his face. "Talk to me, Malik." That article you think I did, that Malik's anger flared. The document's words burning in his mind. "Your family's been fucking me over since I was a kid. Eleanor, your company killed my parents, and now this smear shit." "Yeah, I'm looking at you. I didn't," she said, her voice raw. "I was a kid when that project went down. My father ran the show, and he was a ruthless bastard. I'm not him." "Bullshit," Malik snapped, stepping closer. "You live off his money, his deals. You're complicit, Caldwell. And now your brother's out here trying to bury me." Eleanor's eyes darkened, but not with anger, with pain. "You think I wanted this? I lost my husband in that crash. Malik, Noah lost his father, his legs. I know what it's like to wake up every day with a hole in your chest. I'd never put you through that." Her words hit like a fist, and Malik's breath caught. He saw it then, the crack in her armor, the woman beneath the suits and power. But his grief was louder, sharper. "Then why didn't you check? Why didn't you dig into your own damn company?" "I'm doing it now," Eleanor said, her voice fierce. "I've got people pulling records. If there's blood on my hands, I'll own it. But you have to trust me. Trust you." Malik laughed, bitter and broken. "I don't even know you. You know me," she said, closing the distance between them. "You saw it at Beat Haven. With Noah, you see it now. I'm not the enemy. Malik." Their faces were inches apart, the air electric. Malik's heart pounded. Anger and something else. Something dangerous swirling inside him. "You're a fucking liar," he whispered, but his voice wavered. "Then why are you still here?" Eleanor's hand cupped his cheek, her thumb brushing away a raindrop or a tear. "Why didn't you run?" The storm outside roared, but inside, it was louder. Malik grabbed her waist, pulling her close, and their lips crashed together. A desperate, hungry collision. The world dissolved grief, anger, doubt leaving only need. Her hands slid to his neck, his to her hips, their bodies pressed tight as if they could outrun the pain. The kiss deepened, raw and reckless, tongues dancing, teeth grazing. They stumbled against the sofa, Eleanor's back hitting the cushions as Malik leaned over her, his hands sliding under her sweater, feeling the heat of her skin. She tugged at his shirt, buttons popping, exposing his chiseled chest. Her nails raked his back, a moan escaping her lips as his mouth trailed to her neck, her pulse racing under his lips. The room spun, their breaths ragged. the line between love and hate blurring into something primal. But reality clawed its way back. Eleanor gasped, pushing against his chest. "Malik, we can't." Her voice shook, her eyes wide with fear and want. Malik froze, his forehead pressed to hers, their breaths mingling. "You're my damn problem." "Ellie," he rasped, his voice thick. He pulled back, both of them panting, the air still charged. The moment hung heavy, unfinished, burning. Eleanor sat up, smoothing her sweater, her face flushed. "This is a mistake," she said, her voice trembling. "We're a mistake, Malik." He didn't move, his eyes locked on hers. "I'm fighting for you. Damn it. You can run, but I ain't giving up." Malik's throat tightened. He grabbed his hoodie, still damp, and headed for the door, the rain swallowing him as he fled. Eleanor called his name, but he didn't stop. The city blurring through his anger and need. His wrist throbbed, his lips burned, and his heart was a battlefield. He couldn't love her, not after everything, but he couldn't stop feeling her, either. Back at the penthouse, Eleanor stood by the window, her shirt rumpled, her breath uneven. She'd fucked up kissing him, wanting him, but she couldn't regret it. Not when he'd kissed her back, fierce and real. Her phone buzzed, a text from Camille Articles blowing up. "You okay?" Eleanor ignored it, her mind on Malik's fire, Noah's steps, the truth she needed to uncover. She wasn't done with him, not by a long shot. In Vine City, Malik crashed at Trey's place, a cramped apartment smelling of weed and spray paint. Trey was sprawled on the couch, a blunt in hand. When Malik walked in, "Yo, bruh, you look like you fought a tornado and lost," Trey said, passing the blunt. "What's good?" Malik waved it off. "Pacing. Some asshole jumped me. Then I fucked up with Caldwell." Trey's eyes widened. "Fucked up how you hit her or something?" "Nah, worse." Malik muttered. "Kissed her. Like, really kissed her." Trey cackled, choking on smoke. "You made out with a billionaire and a penthouse man. You live in a damn soap opera. So, what's the vibe, you in love or just horny?" "Shut up," Malik said. But a grin broke through. He flopped onto the couch, his head spinning. "She's trouble, fam. But Noah, that kid's worth it." Trey nodded, serious now. "Then keep fighting, bruh. But watch your back. That article smells like her brother's work. Dude's a snake." Malik's jaw tightened. He thought of Nathan's smug face in the gossip rags, always lurking around Eleanor's empire. If he was behind this, Malik wasn't just fighting for Beat Haven, he was fighting for his damn life. The Atlanta dawn broke over Vine City like a promise, the sky streaked with pink and gold. But Malik Jackson wasn't feeling it. His wrist still throbbed from the alley fight 2 nights ago, and that kiss with Eleanor Caldwell, hot, messy, and all kinds of wrong burned in his mind like a damn fever. The gossip rags hit piece calling him a gold digger was still trending, the hate comments piling up like garbage Vine City trash. He's using that kid. Malik's phone was a minefield, but he couldn't stop scrolling. each word a jab to his gut. He sat in Mrs. Pearl's library, a fluorescent-lit relic in the heart of Vine City, surrounded by dusty shelves and the faint hum of an ancient AC unit. The old librarian, her glasses slipping down her nose, eyed him over a stack of microfiche. "Malik, you look like you're digging for buried treasure or a damn death wish," Mrs. Pearl said, her voice sharp but warm. "What's got you haunting my library at 7 a.m., chasing ghosts, Ms. Pearl?" Malik said, his fingers flying over the keyboard of a clunky computer. "Need to know who's trying to bury me." She chuckled, sliding a cup of weak coffee his way. "Child, you stirring up more drama than a Tyler Perry movie. Dig careful. Now." Malik nodded, his jaw tight. He was cross-referencing old Caldwell Ventures records with the 2008 construction collapse that killed his parents. The same one tied to that damning document he'd thrown at Eleanor. He'd been up all night, fueled by rage and Trey's leftover Red Bull, searching for anything to pin down Nathan Caldwell, Eleanor's snake-ass brother. The gossip article had Nathan's fingerprints all over it, too personal, too vicious. Malik's gut told him Nathan was playing dirty, and he wasn't about to let that rich prick win. His phone buzzed with a text from Trey Yo. "Fam, got a lead. Meet me at the shop. Bring coffee." Malik grabbed his backpack, stuffed with Beat Haven flyers and the printed 2008 permit, and headed out. The library's door creaked shut behind him. Vine City waking up around him, kids on bikes. A street vendor firing up a grill, the smell of bacon and asphalt mixing in the air. He hopped the MARTA to Trey's spot, a graffiti-covered auto shop turned art studio, where the air smelled of spray paint and motor oil. Trey was hunched over a laptop, dreads swinging, a blunt tucked behind his ear. "Bruh, you look like shit," he said, grinning. "But I got something to make your day. Check this." Malik leaned in as Trey pulled up a string of emails, hacked from Nathan's account with a password so dumb it was insulting Peach 123. "Man, this dude's dumber than a box of hammers," Trey said, cackling. The emails were a goldmine proof Nathan knew about the faulty materials in the 2008 project and buried the evidence to protect their father's legacy. One message, dated last week, linked Nathan to the gossip site, paying off the writer to smear Malik. Another mentioned handling Malik if he got too close to Eleanor. "Holy fuck," Malik whispered, his blood boiling. "This motherfucker's been playing dirty since day one." Trey nodded. "Serious now. He's got goons, too. That alley shit. Probably his guy. You gotta take this to Caldwell. Bruh. The real Caldwell." Malik's stomach twisted. He thought of Eleanor's eyes in the penthouse, raw and pleading, her lips on his. Trusting her was a leap, and he wasn't sure he could make it. But Noah's steps at Beat Haven, that kid's fearless grin that was worth fighting for. "Aight," he said, saving the emails to a USB drive. "Let's burn this asshole down. Across town." Eleanor was a woman on fire. Her Buckhead penthouse felt like a cage, the glass walls closing in as she paced, her phone buzzing with notifications about the article. Camille sat on the couch, scrolling through X, her face grim. "Boss, this is a shit show," she said, tossing her phone down. "Your brother's name's all over this. You gonna handle him or what?" Eleanor's jaw clenched. "I'm handling it," she said, her voice ice cold. She'd called her mother. Mrs. Eleanor Caldwell Sr., a 70-year-old matriarch who ran the family with an iron fist. The meeting was set at her mansion in Buckhead, and Eleanor wasn't playing games. She thought of Malik's anger in the park, his hands on her in the penthouse, the way he'd stopped when she asked. He was trouble, but the kind that made her feel alive. And Noah. He was begging to go back to Beat Haven, his eyes brighter than they'd been in years. She wasn't letting Nathan ruin that. The Caldwell mansion was a goddamn palace, white columns, manicured lawns, a fountain that screamed, "We're richer than God." Eleanor stormed in, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Nathan was in the dining room, sipping coffee like he hadn't just torched Malik's life. "You're a fucking coward," Eleanor growled, slamming the printed gossip article on the table. "Hiding blood money. Smearing Malik, you're done." "Nathan." Nathan smirked, leaning back. "You're soft. Ellie, he's playing you, and you're too pussy-whipped to see it." Mrs. Caldwell swept in, her silk robe trailing, her gray hair pulled into a severe bun. "Enough," she snapped, her eyes blazing. "Nathan, you're a selfish prick. If you're behind this, you've disgraced our name." Nathan's smirk faltered. "You're siding with her. With him, I'm siding with what's right," Mrs. Caldwell said, her voice steel. "Get out. Now." Nathan stormed out, his coffee cup rattling on the table. Eleanor and her mother stood in tense silence. "Fix this," Mrs. Caldwell said softly. "For Noah. For that man." Eleanor nodded, her resolve hardening. She called her investigator, demanding every record from 2008. She wasn't just fighting for Malik, she was fighting for the truth. Meanwhile, Malik was back in Vine City, planning a counterattack. Trey had an idea, a Beat Haven showcase at Piedmont Park to show Atlanta what the program was about, drown out the gossip with something real. Talia was on board, designing flyers with graffiti-style art, while Sophie and the kids rehearsed a hip-hop routine. Malik texted Eleanor Piedmont Park. Saturday, 6 p.m. Bring Noah. Prove you're not full of shit. His thumb hovered over the send button, doubt gnawing at him, but he hit it anyway. Saturday came fast, and Piedmont Park was lit. The sun dipped low, casting golden light over the lake, the air thick with the smell of barbecue and grass. A stage was set up near the dog park, Trey's speakers blasting a mix of Migos and old-school Outkast. Hundreds showed up, Vine City families, kids from Beat Haven, even some Buckhead types curious about the buzz. Talia's flyers were everywhere, and local news vans parked nearby, cameras rolling. Malik stood backstage, his Beat Haven t-shirt soaked with sweat, hyping up the kids. "Y'all ready to shut this city down?" he shouted, fist-bumping Noah. Noah grinned, his braces glinting. "Hell yeah." "Malik, we got this." Eleanor arrived with Camille, both in jeans and Beat Haven tees, a far cry from her usual power suits. She caught Malik's eye, her expression unreadable but intense. "Jackson," she said, nodding. "This better be worth it." Malik smirked, his heart racing. "Oh, it's gonna be lit. Caldwell. Watch and learn." The showcase kicked off with Sophie leading a wheelchair dance, spinning in perfect sync to Sweet Georgia Brown remixed with a trap beat. The crowd roared, phones up, recording every move. Noah was next, stepping onto the stage with Sophie, his braces clanking, but his head high. Malik stood at the edge, clapping to the beat, his eyes locked on the kid. Noah took a deep breath, ditched one brace, and moved 4 steps, then a spin, guided by Sophie's hand. The crowd lost it, screaming, stomping, the energy electric. Malik's throat tightened, pride swelling in his chest. Eleanor was in the front row, her eyes wet, clapping like her life depended on it. For a second, their gazes met, and Malik saw something raw gratitude. Maybe. Or something deeper. He nodded. A silent, "We did this." She smiled. A real one. And his heart did a flip he wasn't ready for. The show ended with all the kids on stage, freestyling to Atlians, the crowd joining in, a sea of raised fists and cheers. Trey grabbed the mic, hyping it up. "Yo, Atlanta, this is Beat Haven. Malik's out here saving kids and stealing hearts, multitasking like a boss." The crowd laughed, but Malik caught Eleanor's eye again, her smirk saying she got the joke. Backstage, as the crowd dispersed, Eleanor approached, Noah at her side. "You pulled it off." "Jackson," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I'm impressed." Malik crossed his arms, trying to play it cool. "Told you. Caldwell. This is what we do. You in or what?" She stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm, sending a jolt through him. "I'm in. Malik." "All the way." Her voice dropped, almost a whisper. "For Noah. For you." Noah tugged Malik's sleeve. "You and Mom are like a team now, right?" Malik laughed, ruffling his curls. "Something like that, lil man." As the park emptied, Camille sidled up, smirking. "Y'all cute, but don't get too cozy. Nathan's still out there, and he's pissed." She handed Eleanor a folder. Investigator found more on 2008. "It's ugly." Eleanor's face hardened, but she nodded. "Thanks." "Camille." She looked at Malik, her eyes fierce. "We're ending this. Together." Malik's chest tightened. He thought of the emails. Nathan's betrayal, his parents' graves. Trusting Eleanor was a gamble, but the way she'd clapped for Noah, the way she'd fought for him in the alley, it was starting to add up. "Aight," he said, his voice low. "Let's take this bastard down." Across town, Nathan sat in a downtown bar, nursing a whiskey, his phone buzzing with news of the Beat Haven showcase. His plan was unraveling, and he knew it. Eleanor was too close. Malik too stubborn. He dialed a number, his voice cold. Double the pressure. "I want him gone." The Atlanta skyline glowed like a damn firework, all twinkling lights and bold promises, but Malik Jackson felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff. It was a week since the Beat Haven showcase at Piedmont Park, where Noah had stolen the show and Eleanor Caldwell had looked at him like he was more than just a Vine City hustler. The buzz from that night #BeatHaven trending, news clips looping on local TV, donors sniffing around should have had Malik on top of the world. But he was on edge, his phone still hot with hate comments from that gossip rag, and Nathan Caldwell's shadow loomed like a storm cloud. Those hacked emails proved Nathan was a snake. But Malik wasn't sure if Eleanor was ready to cut her brother loose. And that kiss in her penthouse, it was a fucking landmine, blowing up every wall he'd built. Malik sat in his cramped Vine City apartment, the walls alive with Talia's graffiti murals, swirls of blue and gold that felt like home. The air smelled of coffee and her acrylic paints, a chaos that grounded him. He was digging through a box of old papers, the same one he'd pulled out after Noah's question. You ever lose someone? Malik. Photos of his parents, their obituary, a faded letter from his mom. It was all there, a time capsule of pain. He hadn't touched it in years. But now he needed answers, something to anchor him before he faced Eleanor again. Talia burst through the door, a pizza box in hand, her braids swinging. Yo, bruh. You look like you're solving a damn murder case. What's with the history lesson? Malik didn't look up, his fingers tracing a yellowed letter. Mom's stuff. Trying to figure out why I'm still so fucked up. Talia's grin faded. She set the pizza down, sitting next to him. Malik, you're doing good. Beat Haven's blowing up. Mom and Dad would be proud as hell. He forced a smile, but his eyes stung. Yeah, maybe. He held up the letter, his mom's handwriting shaky but fierce. Danced through every damn wall. Son. It hit him like a punch, and he shoved the box aside, grabbing his phone. I'm hitting the library again. Need to check something. Talia raised an eyebrow. Library? You turning into Sherlock now? Something like that, Malik said, grabbing his backpack. He didn't tell her the full truth. He was chasing a hunch. A memory of his parents' lawyer mentioning a cover-up tied to the 2008 collapse. If Nathan was dirty, there might be more buried. Across town, Eleanor Caldwell was fighting her own war. Her Buckhead penthouse felt like a glass prison. The city sprawling below like a map she'd conquered but couldn't control. Noah was at school, humming Beat Haven's hip-hop tracks, but Eleanor was glued to her laptop, scrolling through the 2008 records her investigator had sent. Each page was a gut-punch faulty steel, ignored warnings. Her father's signature on the permit. Nathan's emails, forwarded by Malik, confirmed he'd known and buried it. Her brother wasn't just a prick. He was a criminal. She slammed the laptop shut, her hands shaking. Camille walked in, a stack of papers in hand, her face grim. Boss, this is bad, Camille said, tossing the papers on the table. Nathan's been dodging the investigator, but we got enough to nail him. You gonna do this? Eleanor's jaw clenched. I have to. For Noah. For Malik. She thought of Malik's lips on hers, his anger in the park, the way he'd fought for her son. She wasn't just fixing a mistake, she was rewriting her family's legacy. Malik was back at Vine City's library. The fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Mrs. Pearl handed him a stack of microfiche, her eyes twinkling. You're back, troublemaker. What's it this time? Need to bury a rich asshole? Malik said, grinning. He dug through records, cross-referencing Nathan's emails with old lawsuits. His heart stopped when he found it a sealed settlement from 2009 paid by Caldwell Ventures to silence whistleblowers about the collapse. Nathan's name was on the payout orders. "Got you, you son of a bitch," Malik muttered, printing the evidence. He texted Eleanor Library. "Now, we end this." Eleanor arrived in 30 minutes, her SUV pulling up outside the library's crumbling steps. She stepped out, jeans and a Beathaven tee replacing her usual power suits. Her green eyes fierce, but tired. "Jackson," she said, nodding. "What'd you find?" Malik handed her the printouts, his voice low. "Your brother knew about the bad steal, paid people off to shut up. He's been playing you, Ellie." Eleanor's face went pale, her hands trembling as she read, This can't be right." She looked up, her voice breaking. "He's my brother, Malik, and he's a fucking liar," Malik said, stepping closer. "He tried to ruin me, hurt you, and he's got blood on his hands, my parents' blood. You gonna let him walk?" Eleanor's eyes flashed, a mix of pain and resolve. "No, I'm done protecting him." She pulled out her phone, dialing her investigator. "Get everything to the DA, now." She hung up, her gaze locking on Malik. "I'm sorry, Malik, for all of it." He wanted to believe her, but the pain was still raw. "Sorry, don't bring him back, Ellie. But it's a start." The next morning, Atlanta woke to a bombshell. Eleanor posted a video on Instagram, standing in her office, the city skyline behind her. "I'm Eleanor Caldwell," she said, her voice steady but raw. 15 years ago, my family's company was tied to a tragedy that took lives, including Malik Jackson's parents. I didn't know. But that's no excuse. My brother, Nathan Caldwell, hid the truth. I'm cooperating with authorities to make this right. Malik, you deserved better. So does Atlanta. She ended with a nod to Beathaven. This program's the future. I'm funding it, no strings attached. No. The hashtag #TruthForMalik trended within hours, comments flooding in, some hateful, some cheering. But Eleanor didn't care. This was for him, in Vine City. Malik was at Talia's apartment, her murals a riot of color around him. She'd dragged him there, refusing to let him wallow. "You gotta see this," she said, shoving her phone at him. The video played, Eleanor's face filling the screen, her words cutting through his defenses. Malik's eyes stung, his hands shaking. "She's trying," he whispered, doubt still lingering. "Can I trust her?" Talia hugged him tight. "You don't gotta decide now. Bruh. But she's fighting. That's something." Malik stared at Eleanor's frozen image, her eyes pleading through the screen. He thought of the kiss, the alley, the pain. Trust was a leap. But as the rain slowed outside, he felt a shift, like the storm was breaking. Days later, Malik was back at Beathaven, the warehouse alive with kids and music. Noah was leading a new routine, his steps surer, his grin brighter. Eleanor showed up, a folder in hand, legal papers ensuring Beathaven's funding for a decade. She handed it to Malik, her smile hesitant. "No bullshit. Jackson, this is real. He took it, their fingers brushing, a spark igniting. You're making it hard to stay mad. Ellie. She laughed, a sound that warmed him. Good. I'm not done with you yet. That night, Malik invited Talia and the Beat Haven crew to Mama's Soul Kitchen, a dive on Auburn Avenue where the air smelled of fried chicken and collard greens. Eleanor showed up, out of place in her clean sneakers, but she dove in, ordering a plate like she belonged. Malik watched her fumble with the hot sauce, a drop splashing her shirt. Damn, girl, you're a mess, he teased, handing her a napkin. Laugh it up, she shot back, grinning. This chicken's better than my chef's. You win. They laughed. The table loud with Trey's jokes. Yo, Ellie's eating greens now. We got a convert, and Camille's quips. Boss, you're out here acting like you're from the block. Slow down. Noah and Sophie swapped fries, plotting their next dance. As the night wound down, Malik and Eleanor stepped outside, the neon sign buzzing above them. The city hummed car horns, distant music, the pulse of Atlanta. Malik leaned against the wall, Eleanor close, their hands brushing. So, what's this? Ellie, he asked, his voice low. You and me. She looked at him, her eyes soft. I don't know, Malik, but I want to find out. You with me? He nodded, a slow grin spreading. Yeah, I'm here. For now. They didn't kiss. Didn't need to. Her hand found his, steady and real. And for the first time in years, Malik felt like he wasn't fighting alone. He thought of his mom's let her dance through every damn wall. He was doing it, one step at a time. Back inside, Talia smirked, whispering to Trey, Y'all see that they're a damn rom-com now. Trey cackled. Vine City's got a billionaire in flip-flops. We made it. Malik caught their laughter, shaking his head. He looked at Eleanor, her smile brighter than the Atlanta skyline, and felt something settle in his chest. Hope, maybe, or something close. Beat Haven was safe. Noah was thriving. And Eleanor, she was a risk worth taking. The road ahead wasn't easy, but for the first time, he was ready to walk it. Yo, what's good? Fam. From a kid's fearless dance to a love that kicked every damn wall down, Malik and Ellie showed us what guts and heart can do. I'm Joan Doe, still reeling from this Atlanta fire. Got a story where you broke the rules and came out swinging? Drop it in the comments and smash that subscribe button. Let's keep this vibe lit with more soul-stirring tales.